Welcome to Doctrine and Devotion, a podcast exploring Christian faith and practice from a Reformed Baptist perspective. My name is Joe Thorne. I'm the lead pastor of Redeemer Fellowship in St. Charles, Illinois.
And I'm Jimmy Fowler, executive pastor at Redeemer Fellowship.
What is going on, Jimmy?
Same old, same old, same old.
Same old doing the
same old.
You doing the quarantine still?
Yep.
Yeah, I don't care anymore.
You don't care?
Nope.
Yeah, just
Do
whatever you want.
Pretty much. You know why?
Because you don't care.
Well, it's not that I just don't care because I don't care.
Yeah.
I mean, that's a part of it.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
But I don't care because apparently nicotine prevents the coronavirus.
Where'd you see that?
Just science, facts and stuff.
Yeah. Where'd you see that?
That's all over the place.
Really?
Like, in France, they did a study testing whether nicotine could prevent the coronavirus. And turns out, you know what? People that smoke cigars like me can't get it or something. I don't know. I was just reading something like that. Well, I don't know. I didn't read the whole article.
You didn't hear? I mean, I also hear you can inject yourself with Lysol. And
he didn't say that. He didn't say that. But no, it's like a scientific study. The theory is, here's a quote. The theory is that nicotine could adhere to cell receptors, therefore blocking the virus from entering cells and spreading in the body, according to renowned neurobiologist Jean-Pierre Changzhou. That sounds Chinese when I say it that way. Changzhou. Anyway, Jean-Pierre from France's Pasteur Institute, who also co-authored the study. So, it's a big shout out to the bro that sent me this link. France testing whether nicotine could prevent coronavirus. I think the jury has come in and says, boom, if you're a smoker, you're safe.
Wait, you're saying Trump didn't say? He didn't say Lysol.
No.
But he definitely talked about disinfectants and sanitizer products.
No. He was talking about Trump was up there riffing. I'm not a defender of Trump, but people go crazy on him when he's just like, you put some light in there or something, right? I mean, that's the thing that you do. Put light in the body, put some sort of disinfectant. That'd be good, right? That gonna work. He's not telling people to do it. He's up there saying dumb things.
Yeah.
We could say he's saying dumb things, sure. Things that he shouldn't say, but he's not telling people to inject themselves. If I thought that Trump was saying, then I would be as dumb as I think Trump is.
What?
No.
Common sense says not to do it.
Yeah.
Though apparently there was like spikes in what's that hotline for
poison control?
Yeah. I don't know what
is that. What your MSNBC said?
But I don't know. And that's what Fox News said.
Yeah.
So
this is you're a person in conflict. You got the Trump flag, and then but you also have all of this.
First of all, I don't do MSNBC.
Yeah. Oh no.
No.
Why not?
Because don't trust them.
Well, you trust Fox?
No.
Yeah, exactly.
No, I don't. But
listen, you can't trust any of the news channels.
Yeah, I've got like 3, 4, 5 different ones that I go in between.
Yeah. Okay. Just to get like a smorgasbord of false news.
Exactly.
You don't just
I
want
read the
one
same story from 4 different sources.
Yeah.
And then go.
And you're just gonna make up your mind about what you're gonna take.
Oh no! Then I just sit there and lie about nicotine will prevent you from getting the corona.
I'm not lying. I'm just telling you what I read.
Yeah.
Just reporting the facts.
You're just that's all you're doing.
The fact that I read it. Well, I read the headline. That's a fact. That's all.
And only reporting on the facts that you seem to like.
Well, why would I want to report on the facts I don't like? That's not interesting at all.
Oh, there you go.
That's
See, and now
disturbing.
you've gotten into CNN and Fox.
Oh, is that how it works?
That's exactly how it
I'm
works.
gonna make some money. Get my own brand of fake. In fact, I think we should just start a news channel called Fake News. What about that? Just tell everybody up front, fake news.
Fake news.
Call it Fake News Network.
I feel like the Babylon Bee has already done that, and people still
get
don't
in trouble.
understand. Yeah, and they are doing it much better than we would do it.
Yeah, they are actually really good at that.
Yeah,
but they can't do what we do. Nothing.
Podcast? Oh, nothing. They can't do a podcast, or they can't do nothing.
I didn't tell you this. You have no idea.
Yeah,
what I'm about to tell you.
All right, I'm ready.
All right, so Jen and the kids were looking on the local animal shelter's website.
Okay,
and there are these 8 dogs, and one of them is 7 years old.
Okay,
and deaf. And it's not getting any interviews, right? There's no visits scheduled. All the other animals get these visits scheduled.
Yeah.
And they feel bad for this dog. And so they started talking, we should go get that dog. Like we need another 50-pound dog running around our house.
Yeah.
And so I was like, that's probably not the best idea. You'll go get that dog. And the dog's deaf, and it says the dog has special needs. It says it in the thing, special needs. I'm not going to do what you think I'm going to do. But they're actually going there today to look at this dog and to probably bring it home.
Oh, wow. You look so thrilled.
Well, here's the thing. I'm fine with it. Like, get the dog. You know, it's fine. I told them if
You are excited for it, yeah.
if we get the dog, the one condition is we have to rename her, because I'm not going to name her Winnie. Coroni.
Coroni.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Coroni. That is the name. So yeah, my wife, and if all the dogs were all those dogs are gone now, there's just one left there, the same one. No, getting no visits. Nobody wants to take a 7-year-old deaf dog home. So now we're gonna get it. Yeah.
Man, that's so kind of your family. I mean, you're just you don't want that dog, do you?
I want the name Coroni. I think that's funny.
That's the only reason why you want that dog is to name it Coroni.
Well, it's deaf. I can call it whatever I want. Really, it doesn't really make a difference.
Joe.
I was the kids were like, well, wait a minute, can the dog bark? Even though it can't hear. I said, yeah, it can bark, but it sounds different. I won't mimic my version of that, but the kids thought it was funny.
Goodness.
Yeah.
See? Yeah. Yeah. I actually honestly thought you were going to name a Fofo.
I know, because it's deaf, but it's not deaf in one ear. Here's the thing. I'm going blind in one eye.
Oh, man.
And
I know. I haven't shared those photos.
Yeah, that's it is like when I cover up this eye, everything is...
Is that still the same one that gives the pink eye?
It's not pink eye. It's iritis, but it gets red.
But it's this one. That one. Okay, so the one that's going blind is the pink eye one.
It's not pink eye. But yeah. So like it got worse, and now so when I cover up my left eye,
that's not good.
Everything's a little foggy.
Have you gone in and take a look or no?
Well, it's Corona time, so no.
Oh, I guess you can't go now.
Whatever.
Are you going? How about this? Are you going to?
I'll just get a patch.
You're just gonna get a patch. You're like, I'm just gonna lean into it.
I'm gonna go Dan Crenshaw. Except I got mine because I was lazy, and he got his. Because
now I get it now. Wow. What? You're afraid that Dan Crenshaw is going to be the next Kirk Cameron. I see Jen reading his books and
she does
loving.
Like her some Crenshaw.
She is all about Dan Crenshaw.
She's all about Dan Crenshaw.
So you feel like
I gotta keep up. It was like that time.
It just dawned on me the moment you said like Dan Crenshaw. I'm like, oh,
this is not the first time.
Are you gonna try to find his cologne?
I don't wear cologne. You wear cologne.
You might need to.
Not doing
and I do.
I'll tell you
cologne.
what. This happened before in the '90s. There was a Creed video on. I think it was a Creed video, and one of the guys had nipple rings. And Jen goes, "Oh, that looks kind of cool."
That did.
I went right out. Turns out it doesn't look as good on a chubby guy.
Now, are those holds like sealed up? I don't know what it's called. Like when you don't use them, do they get like?
Yeah, you take them out. They close up real quick.
All right, are they closed up?
I kept them until we had a kid, and then Catherine kept yanking on him as a baby, so I got rid of them. That was 2001.
All right, I'm going to ask you this question, and I want you to be serious.
Okay, I'm serious now.
All right, do you have a photo of it?
Oh, I probably do somewhere. Yeah, never.
Never.
You'll never get it. You'll never get it.
What do you
Jen
mean?
wouldn't give it to you, and I'm not going to share now.
Why not? How are you not going to share that?
Oh, no way.
Why would you not share that?
No. If I looked like the guy from Creed, maybe I would.
But listen. This is our podcast. Yeah. There's a reason why our podcast is what the JoFo is.
Right.
And the JoFo is sharing those photos.
I don't think that's what it is.
Yes, it is.
Pretty sure. I think it's protecting the public from those photos.
No. I think the public wants it.
Oh, really? So
you know what? I'm
going to share a photo that I took last night.
Of last night. Go ahead.
At the elders meeting.
I kind of expected that. I'm actually surprised you haven't yet.
All right.
I'm actually surprised you have not yet.
Yeah. Well, here's the thing. That was before digital cameras were a thing, so I doubt that.
Yeah, you won't have that. Yeah, you might not. No.
You know what we got to do?
We got to finish up this 1689 chapter. What is this? 26.
We are in the last paragraph of chapter 26, all about the church ecclesiology, and this is a really interesting paragraph. Paragraph 15.
All right, let me read this. In cases of difficulties or differences, either in point of doctrine or administration, wherein either the churches in general are concerned, or any one church in their peace, union, and edification, or any member or members of any church are injured, in or by any proceedings in censures not agreeable to truth and order, it is according to the mind of Christ that many churches holding communion together do, by their messengers, meet to consider and give their advice in or about that matter of indifference, in the difference, right? It's not just
matters indifference.
Yep. To be reported to all the churches concerned. Howbeit, these messengers assembled are not entrusted with any church power properly so called, or with any jurisdiction over the churches themselves, to exercise any censures either over any churches or persons, or to impose their determination on the churches or officers.
Okay, this is actually a timely
Yeah.
subject for us. And so why don't we walk through what is actually being said in this paragraph, how many independent and Baptist churches sidestep what this is actually calling for.
All right.
And then we'll talk about, how we could see this working in our context or in another. Okay.
Sure. Let's go with it.
All right, so we're talking about cases of difficulties or differences, right? And so whenever there's a beef, and it's a significant beef, whether it's in doctrine or administration, it could be in one church or in a few different churches.
Yep.
When there is a beef that is disturbing peace, union, and edification, where somebody is injured, right, a member or a church, then what we're supposed to do is that the churches that hold communion together can meet to address this problem, right? To not just talk about it, but it says to give advice about that matter of difference, and then let everybody report it to all the churches concerned. Big picture, not complicated.
No.
There's a real problem in a church or between churches. It should be addressed by that cooperating fellowship of churches. And how we can talk about how that might be done, right? You might have a committee or something, and then
Maybe an executive one.
And then that's got to be reported back to the whole. Okay, so and yet that body doesn't necessarily have power over a particular church to tell it what it must do. Okay,
Yeah.
so. Oh, goodness.
Joe's on his.
My wife is sending me a text about small group. I got to turn it off.
Yep.
How do I do that, Jimmy? I like this.
Yeah.
Jimmy taught me how to turn off my text.
Option. Yep.
Yeah. Option. Click.
And then click on. Yep.
All right. So how are people getting around this? How are people avoiding holding churches accountable, leaders accountable for their actions when they are independent? What have you heard them say?
Well, I've just heard them say, when they're independent, like, so they're not even part of the association.
Even if they are part of an association.
Well, I think I've heard a number of things. I've heard some people say, well, they don't have authority to do anything, so why do it, right? And actually, that's something that came up recently.
Yeah. But we can't tell them what to do, so
why even tell them
we
anything?
can't tell them what to do.
Yeah.
But no, that's not the point.
Yeah.
You can't make them do anything, but you can tell them what to do. You can
right.
say, this is the right
This is
thing.
what it means to be in fellowship with us.
Exactly.
Right? This is what is right and honorable.
So you said you've seen this recently. What was the most?
Oh, I'm trying to think through. Sorry, it's going through my the sexual abuse stuff. The
Right.
sexual abuse stuff, right? They're talking about, okay, how could you have these standards, and that obviously not the standard about whether or not to sexually abuse, right?
Yeah, that's a pretty easy one.
Yeah, that's an easy one.
Don't do that.
But the checking up on and the background stuff
Right.
and expecting all these things, like, well, we don't have authority to go and tell them what to hold to that.
Right. So, okay. So running with that, so there, 700 churches in the SBC over a span of a few decades were found to have been complicit in covering up sex abuse, or there was sex abuse that was mishandled or whatever. So the SBC could put together a team of people to look into this, to investigate, and then report back and give advice.
Yeah.
They can do that.
Yep.
And that doesn't bind any church to do anything, but it's like, this is what we are saying we should do.
Yeah.
That would be a good thing. Maybe it's, I know ARBCA, Association of Reformed Baptist Churches in America, not an association that we're a part with, though we know some great people that, they were, I don't know if they're a part of it anymore. I don't think the people that I know are anymore a part of ARBCA, but they had the big Tom Chantry scandal, really, where there were allegations of child abuse and sexual abuse. And so that was that. I mean, if you do the reading on that, that appears to have been woefully mishandled. I mean, terribly handled and not dealt with plainly. So if we're talking about, if we believe, because like we do, that every church should be autonomous, governing itself according to Scripture under the lordship of Christ, but we still believe in we still believe in accountability.
Yeah.
So how do churches that are independent function with accountability towards other churches?
Well, I think that's part of being the network or the association, right? Where you have other like-minded believers, other brothers and sisters in Christ, specifically brothers when we're talking about church leadership, being able to gather together and have conversations, right? And so people could push back on you, they can encourage you, they could correct you. Now, we see this, I mean, typically you're supposed to see it kind of at the regional level, and then you see it larger, you know, within the convention level,
national,
the national level, right? Yeah, I mean, I think there's opportunities there for fellowship and discussion.
Yeah, accountability, pushback. Like, see, anybody that I know who's healthy knows that they need pushback and accountability.
Yeah.
Now, Jimmy and I, let's not say we're not healthy, okay, but if we were, we would still even more recognize we need accountability and pushback. Jimmy has to push back on me. I got to push back on him. The elders, we all do that together. And so if you know that you need it, then you should know that your church needs it. This is one of the reasons why we need associations, conventions, or denominations. And it is for the cause of Christ, but it is also for the purity of the church. It's not just so that, hey, we want to go out and make disciples. Yes, that is the impetus, right? We want to cooperate together for the cause of Christ. But to do that effectively, then we need to have some checks and balances, some accountability, so that when a church goes off the rails, like, look, read Revelation. Churches go off the rails sometimes. When we begin to get off track, or if we mishandle something, we need people to speak into that. So when somebody's looking, let's say there's a church planter or a church that is just totally.
Well, here, hold on, and along that shows, I think, the importance of actually having teeth as a convention, right? So there's no point in being part of a convention for a cooperation and for accountability if there is no accountability. If the convention is not willing to step in and say something and do something, then there's really no point in being a part of that, because it's just I'm trying to think of, it's just a weak man. You know what I mean? Like, they're not going to do anything. So why would you even listen?
Yeah. Well, and we see that, right? That, I mean, think about it this way. There are, I don't know how many churches are in the SBC, but a lot, right? A lot of churches in the SBC.
Yeah.
It's the largest Protestant denomination, they say. Now, the only thing that I've ever really seen happen is, on occasion, they will, out of the hundreds of thousands of churches, they will remove a church if they start ordaining women or marrying homosexuals, right? Now, there's probably been a few other situations in which they've done that, but that doesn't happen very often. And, but we also know that there have been a lot of theological abuses and spiritual abuses that have happened within our churches that have never been addressed by the SBC. So why... I know what you're going to say, but I'm going to ask you.
No, I want
for Steve.
For Steve McCoy. Okay.
Why do you believe it is so tempting for networks, conventions, and denominations to not address churches that are violating biblical standards when we are supposed to have a cooperative, accountable relationship?
You know exactly what I'm going to say.
I know what you're going to say.
You know what I'm saying. I'm going to sound like a cynic.
Yeah. Okay. What is it?
Because they're commodities that give you cash.
Yes, money. Now, listen, that's not always the case.
That's not always the case.
It's not always the case, but it's definitely one of the reasons there's a temptation there. And listen, talk to people that have been in ministry a long time, especially like generations before mine, or people that are in churches that they've inherited. It takes more courage to confront a member who is erring when they are big donors to the church, and you know that they are big donors to the church. Now, in our case, that's not a thing, because we have no idea what people give, and it's a church we planted, so there's a different feel to it. But I know that I've had other pastors say, like, no, that takes more courage, because we're gonna potentially take a big hit.
Yeah, because they might leave, right?
And that's going to impede the mission that or at least it could potentially impede the mission that you're trying to accomplish. So I do think that's a part of it.
I mean, you even saw it within the SBC when it came to the ERLC, right? People talking about the cooperative program and how much to give, and withholding if Russ Moore didn't step down or something like that, right? So it's not far-fetched to think that people aren't thinking in terms of dollar and cents, and understanding, I guess, their quote-unquote monetary value that they bring to the SBC, right? We're just a bunch of sinners using whatever manipulative leverage we have to get our way.
There's probably another reason that it isn't addressed, right?
Cowardice, yes.
Yep. Oh, there's cowardice. People are afraid, but so they're afraid maybe of losing money. Maybe they're afraid of the controversy itself. It's just
Like stirring something up.
Yeah, it's uncomfortable, right?
Yeah.
Some people are just like, oh, this is going to be terrible. And listen, man, we as pastors, we have to step into situations where we know, like, whew, okay, we're going to step into this, and it's going to be awkward and painful. But that's the job. That's the calling. That's the nature of our lives together.
Yeah.
In family, in my family, if I had a problem, or if my dad had a problem, or my sister, if anybody had a problem, we would just say, hey, I don't like what you just said or did. That was stupid.
Stop it.
Don't do that. In Jen's family, they wouldn't say anything. They would just be chill.
Man, I remember like my family is much the same as yours, right? Like we just yell, scream, get it all out, and then boom, you're done.
You're done with it.
You're done. I mean, I remember first walking into Michelle, her family's house, and
in Canada,
and tripping over all the stuff that was swept under the rug. Like it was
metaphorically,
and physically.
Oh, they were dirty.
They were
dirty. The Canadian, of course,
Canadian. But like, they wrote it all down, all their grievances, and then swept it under the rug. And I stepped over that. I stumbled over that.
Let's just talk about this. Why did this? What?
Oh, I remember sitting at dinner one day, and like you could tell, and I'm like, this is so uncomfortable.
Yeah, it's fine. It's like that time I told my wife's mom to mind her business. When she was, and that would just be a normal thing to say, like, hey, this is not your business. This is our business. Don't worry about it. I don't want you pressuring Jen here. And yeah, that was an inappropriate, I didn't handle that well. I should have addressed my mother-in-law in a more compassionate, respectful way.
I know.
I mean, I should have.
And are you now?
Oh, yes. Yeah, actually, we're great. It took years, but like, I love my mother-in-law, and I think she likes me a lot, and I look forward to seeing her. She's a great woman. She really is a great woman. So yeah, I think there's a lot of reasons why we might not.
Yeah, people trying to avoid that controversy,
controversy, embarrassment, and losing money. It's embarrassing. It becomes public information.
Yeah,
legal reasons people might not want to address things because we live in a litigious society, and people aren't afraid to sue. Forget what scripture you said this about me. I'm going to sue. I'm going to bring you up on some crazy charges and see if I can get some money out of you. So not only going to lose money, you're going to lose more money.
Yeah. Or if I can get my sermons back and then have my platform and I might just call it like running in the word or something. And I just want to go ahead and take care of those journalists and everybody else. And I'll give my friend a VW Beetle, a VW Bug, and then he'll not say anything about me. And I'll talk to my good friends over at some online Today for Christianity, and they won't say things either.
Just brutal. Yeah, he's suing Mancow.
Yeah.
He's in the middle of a lawsuit.
You know what's even better about that? He's using McDonald's old lawyer, I thought.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Wait, who is using? Oh, Mancow is using McDonald. McDonald was using his lawyer earlier.
Oh, so there you go. There you go. He's using the same lawyer that McDonald had used to sue Julie Roy's and the Elephant's debt.
Yikes. Okay, so what might this look like? I don't know if we need an example, but what might it look like? Let's say there's a problem in a church. Like there are allegations of abuse, and a church, if there are allegations of abuse, what does that church need to do first?
I'm trying to think through if there's allegations of abuse. I think they need to be reaching out to their local association, right? Investigating it, taking a look at it, removing the individual, documenting, go to the cops first, obviously.
So let's say that, like, there's somebody makes an allegation of abuse. That may mean if they're saying I was abused, then we have to report that.
Absolutely.
It depends on your state, but we are mandatory reporters here in Illinois. So you've got to report that. You've got to investigate at the same time because we bear a level of responsibility. So investigation, report. Let's say,
and I'm willing to say, if you're not in a state that's mandatory reporting, you still report. But that's me.
Yeah,
I don't care where I live, and it's whether or not it's a mandatory reporting. I'm reporting.
Yeah. So I agree. So we've got investigation and reporting happening immediately, and let's say that there is it's not handled well, and the church begins to have significant conflict, and it becomes known, right, through other people talking about it online or whatever. Does the association of churches that it belongs to, do they have a responsibility at that point?
I think I would say yes, there's a responsibility because it's a church that you are in fellowship with, right? In association with. I think it is your responsibility to see how things are going, what's going on, how you could be of assistance, maybe where things went wrong, and how you can correct the individuals that maybe mishandled.
And here's the thing, like, I think it's the right thing to do. If you see a church really mishandling things, and it's a significant thing, right? It's either significant doctrine or it's significant demonstration of ungodliness. We have the responsibility to speak because they are our brothers. We're in cooperation with them. Mm-hmm. But it's also an opportunity then for the network, convention, or denomination to say, we do not operate this way.
Yeah.
We operate in a different way that is in line with Scripture, where there is transparency and accountability. So we're going to address this issue and be as direct as we can, and be as transparent as we can. It's good for the people who have been hurt and offended. It's good for the church, and it's good for the network as a whole. To not do it, I mean, listen, you can't. It's really hard to get away with stuff today because of social media. Because of the internet used to be, you could get away with a lot of stuff in a lot of places, but everything is recordable, discoverable, and shareable. Like that stuff is easy to disseminate, and so you're gonna get caught. And so for the network that maybe doesn't have any direct responsibility for what happened in a church, you will come under scrutiny for not addressing the problem, to seeking to protect the flock that you are facilitating in their cooperative efforts. You're going to come under not just scrutiny, but a charge, because like you could have said something and you could have used this as an opportunity to show other churches what not to do. Yeah. And this is one of the things that bothers me about churches is maybe a church will handle conflict in an unhealthy way, right? Someone says, well, this person, abused me in some way. Okay, well, that person is repentant. We've talked to them. They're repentant. So now you need to forgive that person. Get them in a room, make them forgive each other, or make the person who's been assaulted forgive that person. And then nothing's reported. And it's like, what are we doing? Yeah. So like once that is learned by that staff, that is then replicated in other places. That's sort of an example.
Yeah, they take that on because they take that on in the next place that they're at. They feel like, okay, this is the correct process, or this process worked here. That's what I was, taught to do. That's what I, saw. And so now I'm going to do it over here. So now you just perpetuated the problem.
Yeah. Authoritarianism spreads from church to church. And this is why people have said, oh, that model of church, that's a very sovereign grace style church. Yeah. And that meant a few things. And one of the things it meant was a lot of control. Yep. Back in the day, that when I talked to Sovereign Grace guys and those churches and people that came out of those churches, they're like, lots of control, determining like, well, you're not allowed to go to that CG or small group. You have to go to this one. That's the one you're allowed to go to. Even just things like that. And that was sort of replicated. Or that's a MacArthur style church. That's a master seminary church. Right? Yeah. So it usually had something to do with some of the leadership culture that was there. It tended to replicate it. So it's a 9 marks church, right? It's your typical SBC church. That all tends to mean something. Not always.
There's always a bit of truth to it, right?
Mm-hmm. So when we're talking about churches that are having conflict, what do you think are some of the common conflicts? Obviously there are big ones that are heinous and just heartbreaking, but what are some of the common conflicts that might be helped by the network stepping in to help address the issue, make a report and some recommendations?
Yeah, I can only think of the big ones. Those are the ones that we've been discussing lately as far as intersectionality, right? That was brought up at the last convention itself, right?
Yep. I think of like, the most common one that I see is overbearing leadership and lack of transparency. Now, some of this...
Do you see that actually being addressed?
No, that's saying one of the most common problems that needs to be addressed.
I'm sorry. Okay. I thought you were saying common problems that are being addressed.
No. Yeah, because not enough are. And again, it's... you don't have to come down and pass any kind of edict that forces churches to, we don't believe in that if you're
Yeah.
independent, but you can still say, listen, this is a problem that we see in our convention. You should be able to say, these are the common problems that we're seeing, or this is a big problem that has just come up. And so we want to address that and offer some counsel here. That would be a great step. I don't see enough of that happen. Now, we have
Yeah.
resolutions that are passed in the SBC, and a lot of people would say, well, those are, but typically those are pretty toothless, and most of the time they're not. And some of them have been horrible in the past, and some of them have been good. But we need a more direct, not direct, but a more robust treatment of the real issues
Yeah.
that we find problems that are coming up in our denominations, especially as it relates to leadership, accountability, how people in the church can have a voice if they are afraid that their church is mishandling funds or something like that. If it's an independent church, you really can't do anything about it. Well, what you should be able to do is say, hey, listen, I'm concerned. Go to the network. I'm concerned about what our church is doing here. And I would hope that they could at least check in with the church to ask what's going on, what are your policies, and then speak into that as brothers in Christ.
Absolutely.
I don't know. But I would be curious where our listeners see the need for more accountability and transparency within our networks, denominations, and conventions, where they see this the need and how it could be addressed. Like specifically, what are the issues that you think our associations should be directly interacting with and going public?
Well, we'd love to hear your thoughts. You can follow us online on Instagram and Twitter at Doc and Devo, or on Facebook /Doctrine and Devotion. You can head to the website, drdevotion.com. There you can contact us. You can sign up for the email blast, or hit up the store, jofostore.com, and grab some gear. Fresh pod every Monday and Thursday. Blog post on Wednesdays. Later.